What perfectly innocent search turned out to be P. Wasteland was a popular airsoft gear website in Norway back in my young days, and you would write Wasteland. No, wasteland.com is something completely different, and I would often write .com out of habit on my mother's laptop. LOL. Spoiler for the curious, it's BDSM. When I was younger and too dumb to remember to bookmark sites, I would just go to them by searching them or typing the domain name in the address bar. One time, I tried going to Game FAQs and missed a letter, which was how I learned that GamFAQs was a P site. Before search engines, it was a thing for P sites, betting and scam sites to buy domains for misspelled and similar names to popular websites. Not a fully innocent search, but back in about 2004 my colleague was trying to convince me that Snoop Dogg did a P film. This was before Google really censored and filtered searches, and when he googled Snoop Doggy Dog P, well, Google focused on the dog P aspect of the search. A co-worker was trying to describe this dog she saw to my dad. She googled big black freaking dog on the work computer. Yeah. Late to this, but hopefully will make a few laugh. When I was in lower primary, about 7 or 8, me and another girl were doing a project. No idea what for, but we needed a picture of Prince Albert. So we Google searched an image, and we were using the one computer connected to the fancy but new whiteboard we had gotten in our classes at the time. So basically me and this girl exposed about 38-year-olds to a huge screen full of dong pics with piercings. Had to show the teacher that when you search Prince Albert it would come up again, cause she didn't believe me. Lol, I can still remember her face of regret. You made me laugh. That's a great one. Shame you were a bit late though. I'll see what I can do to get a few more people to see it because your comment honestly deserves it. I teach ESL, and when a student asks me what X word means, I sometimes use Google Images to show them, as opposed to just looking up the word. It helps them remember. I got asked what the word string meant by a class of 5th grade boys, and it seemed like an innocent enough word. The image result showed girls in string bikinis. It wasn't P, but it was a bit racy for kids that aged and at that time of day and in that setting. I don't use Google Images for kids anymore. In Spanish, the word for dental floss can also be used as a slang for string bikini. I had the same experience as you did searching for dental floss and how to use it. School project when I was younger, had to do a PowerPoint on the seasons, so I typed in hot to Google Images. I learned a lot that day. Little Billy didn't want to work on seasons anymore. When my family first got the internet like 20 years ago now, I remember we were just having fun looking stuff up, and my little brother wanted to look up his Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toys and see what other ones they had. That seemed pretty simple to me, so I figured we'll just look up the company that made them and go from there. The company that made them was called Playmates. When we first got the internet, my brother literally looked up stuff on a search engine and it was all P. I think everything was P back in the mid-90s. Searched Google Images for pterodactyl, scrolled down and was visually assaulted by a picture of a naked woman getting railed by a pterodactyl. Showing my age, but whitehouse.com used to be P. Found out when I was in Catholic school on the one computer in the library that had internet. I got in so much trouble at first. Then everyone was really nice to me because they saw the simple mistake. It was a whirlwind of emotions. Like the school called my parents to tell them I got in trouble for looking at P. This was before people generally had cell phones. So my dad was called at work, left work, but was P. Drove 40 minutes freaking P at me. In the meantime they figured out it was an honest accident. I still remember the daggers my dad was staring at me when he walked in. The principal pulled him aside and told him the situation. Best part was apparently to check to see if I was telling the truth or not. The principal and librarian took a blanket and made like a privacy fort over the computer. Both of them got under it and essentially looked at P to confirm I was innocent. Oh, a girl in my class did this in college. She was, of course, so shocked she called the entire class's attention to it. LOL. Had one come up at work I had to look up very carefully. It is called the Dong system. It's hard to believe until you see it, but basically it's a math resource for schools. I was crying with laughter at the website purely because the wording did not help its case. I'm surprised IT didn't phone me up to ask what I was doing. For those too scared to search, we called it multilink when I was at school. It's basically those clicky cubes used to teach counting basic addition. This makes me think of a post I read some years ago. This guy was filling out a test in school and had to list his ethnicity. He Google searched on Caucasian but misspelled Caucasian. Hilarious. Back in the late 90s, I was giving a talk on the internet and dial-up tech to a few hundred people, and as a demo wanted to show White House Gov, but by habit of typing .com after everything, went to the .com site, which ended up on a huge screen while I was facing the crowd, talking, waiting for the site to load on dial-up. Oh no, another person had this exact same incident when typing up the same website in primary school while looking for the pet of a president or something like that. Back in the day when I used Hotmail, I accidentally typed Hotmail, nearly had a heart attack because I was 14 and on a public computer in the library. Back in the day when I used Hotmail, this makes me feel old because I still use Hotmail. Whitehouse.com got me in trouble in middle school whilst researching the president's cat's name for a school project in the computer lab at school with sound on LOL. Whitehouse.com kid here. 2. School library. Very unfortunate. Socks. This was in the good old days before Microsoft fixed that Bing algorithm that was really good at finding pee. Back in the day things were mad. When I was in elementary school we were to complete an assignment on a foreign land. I chose to do mine on the capital of Iraq, Baghdad. Being around 11 or 12 years old I must have missed the H, and what I saw still haunts me to this day. On the bright side, I'll never forget how to spell Baghdad. Early 2000s I worked at a machine shop and I was tasked with helping revamp website and search results. One of our big products went by several different names. Freeze plugs, Welch plugs and expansion plugs. Was sitting with the owner, running searches to see where we ranked on Google and others. Expansion plugs did not return the results we were looking for. Until you diversified your business. Somewhere between age 12 and 14, searched up xxx.com because the new XXX movie starring Vin Diesel was coming out. To find websites back then it was pretty normal just to type in nameofthething.com instead of using a search engine. Ended up overloading my parents' computer with P viruses and they had to take it in to get it wiped and reset. I made this mistake with whitehouse.com. Looking UO Misty Pokeball from Pokemon. First image was her giving birth to Pokeballs. What the frick? I tried to look up the word brassiere because I didn't know how to spell it. Turns out I spelled it so wrong that it was closer to brazzers, and well, you could guess how that turned out. Back in the day, I think the Google image search was for huevos rancheros, but if you accidentally spelled it wrong, the first image of the search results was a picture of a guy fricking a dog. Yes, really. Speed typing roulette. Funny story. When I was 18, I was given my first laptop as a moving out graduation present. Being 18 and freshly on my own, I didn't have a way to do laundry besides the laundromat. I was in a rough neighborhood because, hey, cheap rent. So I would go back home to do laundry. My dad and brother didn't have a computer, so we would do weekly rotations with my laptop. So, after a week, I bring my laptop home. It's running slow, so I go to delete the history, cookies, blah blah, and the history is filled with P. Was it embarrassing to see what my brother and or father were using to get their rocks off? Yes, but also kinda funny. I'm twisted, I know. I'm reading through it and it's the typical stuff. Threesomes, lesbian, anal, blah blah. But in the middle of it all is one that reads creepy, and that's it. This struck me as particularly funny, that after some intense fapping, one of them, at this point I strongly suspected my brother, got hungry and wanted to make a pie. Me being a smart butt, I click on what I thought was a recipe, so I could make it for him and subtlety say, hey, I know what you've been doing, clear the damned history. But instead I found more pee, so that was how I learned the terminology of creampy. Whoa, so many twists and turns. Not pee as such, but I had to fix one of the dials on my mixer, so I typed gain knob into Amazon. I ended up getting books about how to grow my penis. from the makers of Expand Dong, presenting Game Knob. I was trying to find smiling animals for a PowerPoint project in high school. Animal Smile turned up an image of a ball python in a woman's vagina. The kid next to me thought it was hilarious. Granny Pictures. Saw a video of an grandma take a football to the face and found it hilarious. Went to find the video in Ike the next day to show my friends and was met with hairy naked 90-year-olds. Next time try Granny takes ball to the face and see if that improves your odds of finding the video you were looking for. A friend of mine worked at an infant school, and one day the children were looking for images of things that can be used to carry water. One poor lad googled jugs and ran crying from the computer saying that he hadn't done anything wrong. In Persona 5 there is a character that shouts for real all the time because they didn't want constant swear words. Well, apparently he did say frick one time, so I was interested when he said this. Googling P5 Ryoji frick only gave P on work Wi-Fi, goddammit. I had just gotten into UGR and wanted to find out how to play. Everything was fine when I looked up monsters and spells. That all changed when I looked up traps. These days monsters isn't safe either. I was trying to find the Kayla It Signs BBG, Beach Body Guide, and thought it was called the BBW, Beach Body Workout, so yeah, I googled BBW workout at work because I was showing a colleague the program. I've posted this in the past so I'll just repost it here. When I was a dumb kid in the mid-90s the computer clock was wrong on the classroom computer. The World Wide Web as everyone seemed to call it at the time was very new to me, but I knew you could find this stuff out. But what website would it be on? My dumb frick little British brain decided bigban.com or .co.uk was a good idea. My first introduction to gay P at around 8 years old. We were French kids fan of WWE, so there's this dude called HHH, Triple H, so there must be other dudes named Triple ABBB. You end up searching XXX and there's a whole lot of results. I wonder what happened when he reached the K. As a 10-year-old I loved Pokemon and especially Entei. I misspelled it and wrote Hentei and next thing I know is Ash freaking May in the butt. Close enough. My dad once was looking up a restaurant called Han Dynasty. Turns out their website was handynasty.net, but he went to handynasty.com and found P. Turns out Han Dynasty has the same letters in the same order as Handy Nasty. My time to shine. I actually have a joke punch card at work for all the times I tried to search something perfectly innocent and got P. My boss is even in on it. I was helping to host a friend's bridal shower with my mom and she said it would be a mother-daughter bridal shower. I didn't know what that meant so I googled mother-daughter shower and got links to weird incest P. A co-worker was talking about a face mask that had a smiling mouth on it and as you unfolded it the mouth would open. So I googled mask mouth open and got images of GIMP masks. You know, the kind with the very obvious hole for BJs. I googled Cantonese versus Mandarin and lots of the images were how to write swear words in one of those languages. I needed to convert 36 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit so I googled 36C and got images and links for lingerie. Honorable mention. Last week I looked up a local restaurant and the search results were innocent as expected. But when I clicked the link for the restaurant's website it took me to a sketchy page selling Viagra. They must have gotten hacked or something because I've been to their website before and it's normal. I am an endless source of entertainment for my co-workers. Back in the early days of the internet, if you wanted to go to Dong Sporting Goods official website, you had to type dicksportinggoods.com. Researching Moby Dong was incredibly frustrating. Leave in Dong and you got P. Take it out, and you got Moby the musician. FFS. At least you didn't get Moby's Dong I guess. Was a young kid who liked to play games on the computer. I remember there being some sort of website with flash games that was tailored to boys and girls. The boy games were like race cars and stuff. The girl games were fashion and stuff. I asked my dad if I can play those games again. He says no, but that wasn't going to stop me. I go into the computer room and type boysplay.com or something like that. Now I'm blind as frick so I'm leaning in close while standing on the chair. My dad walks in on me looking at giant throbbing dongs. I was grounded for a long time. He was screaming something about how I was going to grow up to be a gay wife beater. I ask, how am I supposed to get a wife if I'm supposedly gay? I was grounded for a long time. Had a science project around 6th grade where we had to do research on biomes or something, and I got marshes, which when put into Google on the library computer turned up a pornster named Michelle Marsh. Fun times. Did I work with Google a 0 art number to figure out what it was for? Every single result was for some hardcore Chinese BDSM porno. No, I don't have the part number now. Back in the early 2000s I was searching for updates about the new Sid Meier's Civilization game. First hit back was Hillbilly P. Hillbilly P got me laughing. Oh okay, I got one. I was in kindergarten when YouTube came out. My teacher showed us a video on it. I went home to get on YouTube, but all I remembered was the tube being in red, so I googled RedTube and P. A few years back I remember looking on Netflix for the comedy miniseries Love with Gillian Jacobs and Paul Rust. Instead I clicked on the movie Love, which was one of those art house movies filled with our extra mile content right from the first scene. I guess not technically P, but I couldn't tell you the difference. I was very innocently looking for pictures of poros, those adorable fluffy creatures from League of Legends, for reference pictures to draw, and at first it seemed alright, but apparently adding literally any second word to the search makes Google assume that when I typed poro I actually meant porno, and then that's 100% of the results I get. Searched for Lucario the Pokemon on Google Images about 15 years ago. Google said, "Did you mean runka?" Which means jerk off in Swedish. I didn't know what it was, but I clicked it, and there came up tons of pictures of gays having anal sex and crap. Scared the living crap out of me as a kid. Felt disgusted for weeks afterwards. Crazy how unaffiliated Google used to be. That crap would never go down nowadays. Oh boy, just consider yourself lucky your Lucario search didn't go through and you found the P of that. Fallout inflation. I was looking for currency inflation in the Fallout games. Yes, I did go to the images tab. Yes, I was on a public library computer. No, I never went back. Doing a project on Queen Victoria as a kid. 10. Trying to find pictures of her husband Prince Albert didn't turn up the images it'd been looking for. Penises. Pierced penises. First time I ever saw one. The teachers immediately shut the computers down and had us look for pictures in books instead to photocopy. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.